what I view about Kericho County is that the county is so beautiful, but now they have ugly leaders, because if we can locate millions of money on the projects, but then these millions of money, they are going to people's pockets, it means that we even don't, those leaders don't even have respect for themselves. They don't respect the people they are serving. And so it's high time, guys, that not just the young people, but the entire nation, we unite and we ensure that we bring sanity in our nation. Else, wherever we are heading, this country will be like anybody. If you want to get out of the poverty region, it means that you have to go for a political seat to vie for that seat, and immediately you are elected, the only thing you can do there is to loot. And so we need to remove such mind from Kenyans, yeah. And so the only thing that can bring change currently is civic education. Educate these people. If we are targeting probably 30 million people to be educated, then be rest assured that more than 20 million will resonate with the idea of bringing sanity in our nation. And so that is it. If you have a question, just request the microphone, I'll approve, and then you can pose the question. I saw Baha here, I don't know where he is. He had requested to speak here, but he just dropped. So I think I'll give you like 3 minutes. You request the mic, you pose that question, or you can even share what you feel. And then after that, we call it a night, because it's too late here. And tomorrow we need to wake up very early in the morning to go to the ground again. So James, I can see you've requested. Good evening. James? James, are you able to speak? Okay, I can see Esther. Good evening.
Good evening, KOT. How are you?
I'm fine. Do you have a question or any comment?
I have only a comment just to say you're doing good work, and that is very impressive. And what I really know is that our country will be back to its state. It is only a matter of unity with every citizen, and I'm sure one time when that unity will be, we will make this country come to an ultim or a stop of this maybe corruption, that the leaders don't see as corruption. They just see is the way to go in when they are in the office. And so I would be happy one day when I will see that our leaders whom we choose, they're not really doing the wrong thing and calling it the right way, being in the system of corruption. I know one day the truth will come to reality, and we will have accountability with our nation. We will have honesty with our nation, and that will be my happiness. Even if it takes how many years, how many minutes, how many ages, that will be my prayer one day. So asante sana.
Okay, thank you so much, Esther. And of course, personally, I believe we are within the jurisdiction of our nation. And so, my question to you, Esther, you as a young person, I know you are of my age. What are you doing? What are you doing to ensure that we have that change? Just a question, a simple question to you.
I would say, personally, I'm at Kitui, and I am also at a award called Zombe Mwitika Award. And this is a place where the party of UDA has reigned in many of our wards. That is Kitui East. Most of the MCAs, they won through UDA. So that means they are supporting our president. And so it's not easy. As you have said, someone was just asking you how much Ruto has stolen. Maybe I'm facing the same challenge, but what I would say, I've tried to educate and tell them the reality of the small shilling that they think is the mandate for government to just loot it. But when they come to their own thinking and understanding, they find that is money that should not be misused. Like, for example, we have Kitui, there's a TVET in Kitui East, which the MP promised that has paid for the new students, but literally that was just a lie, that it was out of a way of just convincing the Zombe Mwiteka that has paid for the new members who are joining the school. So I'm trying my best to have conversation with every individual I meet. So that is what I'm doing on my end.
Okay. Thank you so much, Esther, and of course, continue doing the Lord's work. Yeah, you know, we've always believed that we want to leave this nation better than we find it, and so by doing exactly what you've said here on this space, it means that you doing the Lord's work. Yeah, so continue injecting, continue putting your leaders on toes for them to account for each and every project, each and every shilling they are given, because those money are ours. Yeah, we are the taxpayers, and so continue doing that. James, are you there? I suspect if James is able to speak, and of course we have our professor here, Professor Kibwana. Professor Kivuta Kibwana has been a person who has really stood with this movement, and you find out that even before we the Gen Zs went on the streets and of course realized that we need to do civic education, Prof. Kibwana had written a book for civic education, and of course I have that copy and I've been sharing with you guys. And so I just want to welcome him to say a word, and then of course we proceed with the conversation. Prof, karibu.
Asante sana Court, and congratulations for the work that you guys were doing today. You have been doing with Morara and others. Poleni kwa kazi. I just wanted to say kitu kidogo tu, kwa sababu hii ni conversation yenu, and people like us, we try where we are asked to just be of assistance, because it is you guys who must develop into that different leadership that will not do the wrong things that are happening in this generation of the people who are in power and even earlier generations. So you have a lot of responsibility as you that will transform our country. Just from what you told us, I like the fact that there is a ground injection, there is express injection, there is a injection in other social media, and so the injection is really going. And I hope and I wish that what you find, it should be documented everywhere. It begins to become material for further political education. It is shared, and when you go a place, I hope you are leaving people to do the same work, so that you plant. It's like missionary work. Like you say, you're doing the Lord's work. So when missionaries, go a place, they leave, other people now on ground, trying to continue the work. And of course, one looks at what you're doing as a very powerful form of political education. The others who are going into matatus, the others who are, doing many things, so that it is like a reincarnation of street power. This is knowledge power, and so really, people grow within what you're doing, and people create the Kenya we want. And what is the manifesto? What are the things that should be? And even actually, one point was, and I think Esther mentioned it, was you did not get hostility from the people. Even the person who was asking how much has Ruto stolen so that I can refund. During our time, sometimes in the 90s, you could go to certain places and the people would be hostile because they thought you are trying to remove their guy from power. But even when they ask many questions, that is good, that is how it starts. Then they continue to know, they continue to understand. And the fact that even people in some places protect you against marauding MPs, or even people say pesa kidogo ya fuel, that is really a big thing. And it's really my prayer as you go to all the places, eventually in each ward, 1450 of them, there will be presence of people who are injecting and creating the kind of political framework that you believe you will occupy, and it will take you and our country. Good work.
Oh, okay. So I even thought we've lost our professor, but yeah, of course. The idea of going to places, injecting. Just a minute. Going to places, talking to people and explaining to them what is exactly happening, and trying to mentor even others and to leave them on the ground is a very good idea. And I welcome that idea from Professor Kibwana. And so, guys, let us do this. I believe we are the people that this nation wants. So, thank you, Professor. But I lost you at some minute. I don't know if you are done with your submission. I ain't sure about that. But
question. Hello, guys.
Okay.
Hello, guys. How are you? Could you hear me?
We are good. Just
I want to ask you a question about what Esther said. How would the government is accountable for the resources they are giving to the people of Kenya? Especially my constituency, where I come from. There There are some MP promised things that cannot even be accountable for. And if you can see that, like I am a person who one day he came in a certain school, then he came and promised that he'll pay for the students' money, but he was not eligible to pay the school fees. So why is it that this government coming to be accountable for the things that are happening? No, they cannot. I'm through.
So James, just to answer your question and of course your concern,
Yeah.
The government have not been, of course, brought to that accountability state. And so if we pump in pressure, if we want to know exactly what is happening, if we go through probably the
let me ask you. Let me ask
just a minute.
Okay.
Okay, I'm saying that currently we have the Auditor Generals, and that Auditor General has been posting the report of how our funds have been used. Yeah, and of course, even apart from that, we also have these social media platforms. We have even the news agencies. We have the television. Of course, when these people are going to places, they promise things like now, for instance, now the president, he can go to Nyanza province and he says, I've allocated 50 million to this project. So if we hear about that and probably after some times we realize that what he promised has not happened, then let us not keep quiet. Yeah, let us inquire more about the monies that were put in such projects. Yeah, how they have been spent and how much is the balance. Even if it's to go deeper and request for the payment receipts, because our constitution allows us to access information from the public information. So it means that if you are going to put them on toss, then it will be so hard for them to actually steal and I mean to steal those money from our coffers the way they've been doing. And so it means that if we go hard on them, they wouldn't be doing exactly what they've been doing in the recent past. So that's what I believe that that should happen. And by doing that, I think we'll bring the change we want. Yeah, because if you don't speak about an issue, then that person, you are giving that person more energy to continue and loot. You are giving that person more energy to continue to steal.
Excuse me, Kidogo.
James?
Yes, this government is coming to be accountable for what is happening. But today, as per today,
I'm losing you, James. Gloria, can you hear James?
No.
James, we are losing you. I don't know if you can rectify your mic or your internet, then come back. So we have Voice of Tongaren. Jambo.
Yes, KOT, thank you. So I'm still on the road. Let me look for a place before I can continue to speak.
Haujafika bana. I've pinned you the location, ufike haraka. Sawa.
Yeah. I'm on the way. Let me look for a place and then we will proceed. So let me hand over the mic to somebody else.
Okay. I can see Dr. Onyango is here. Dr. Onyango and the group, we are working on a certain press conference on the issue of that the cash crop bill that is currently the seeds bill that's currently in the parliament. Dr. Jambo.
Yes, the Jambo KOT. How are you today?
I'm good, bana. Tuambie.
Asante sana. When I was checking my notifications just before I would switch off for the day, then I saw these about grassroots civic education, and I thought to just pop in before I retire. Yeah, so thank you. I think it's a good initiative, grassroots civic education. Yeah, to those in the call, I think I came in when Prof. Kibwana was speaking. Good insights from there. And all who have gone. My name is, I'm Dr. Duncan Onyango. I am an engineer by profession. I specialize in water and environmental engineering. I teach at the Technical University of Kenya, School of Chemical and Environmental Engineering. So we have been together in the trenches with KOT and many others during this revolution. And I am glad with the way things are shaping up right now, especially the topic at hand today, where we are now moving this conversation beyond these spaces down to mwananchi at the very grassroots level. So that really elates me, because that is where this revolution belongs. The mwananchi at the grassroots level. I was talking to some people and I was telling them that this gospel of change must be preached to all villages for a witness, then shall the change come. I'm sure those who read the Bible understand me in that context. So this message must go down to the common mwananchi. When we talk about these, the punitive agriculture bills that have been proposed in Parliament, that message must go down to Wanjiku and to Wanyama and to Otieno and to everyone at the grassroots level, so that they can be able to understand what this holds for them. And I was glad earlier in the week, I was somewhere in Embu, a village called Githemu, and we were there. We had actually been invited to go and speak to the congregation on a funeral. I hadn't imagined that I will be standing one day doing a civic education in a funeral. Oh, by the way, KOT, it was one of the young men you sent me during the Nani revolution. Remember that young man that came all the way from Embu? And I received him in the night and hosted him. Unfortunately, he lost his mom. And he insisted that, I want you to come, and I want you to come with a team, so that even though we are mourning, but I want is very receptive to these issues of change. We were able to inject a lot there, and even talk to them directly about these issues that are happening, including the Murima politics that are currently ongoing. And people are very receptive to this message down there. So it's a clear indication to us that really, they told us clearly that you guys need to come here more often, come and talk to us, let us know what is happening. And when you talk to them about the things we are doing, like on these agriculture bills, now we are talking about the Horticultural Crops Authority bill, they're really wondering, are you sure this is what is happening? Yeah, mbona hatujawahi sikia? So, and when you sit down, or you sit them down, take a moment and explain it, break it down to them, they really appreciate and they really get to understand that message. So I think that is where that is the direction that now the movement is taking, and we need to have more and more of us talking about it. Then yesterday I was invited to speak to a comrades forum at my own Technical University of Kenya, where we had about more than 300 comrades, and I was talking to them about the things that affect them. We just had the whole issue of university funding, and we were actually wondering that why does the country seem to be retrogressing? If 30 years ago, university education was free, yeah, and people would learn for free and eat for free at the mess and still be given boom. But then now, in 2002, primary education was free. we would be expecting that by now we would be talking about free secondary education and even free university education, but that is not the situation. So those are some of the things we were discussing with them. And they, just like the village in Embu, even the university students there, really, because there were issues that were talking to them. In fact, we just finished a strike that we had industrial action that ran for a whole month at the Technical University of Kenya because systems were not working. So these are issues that affect them directly, and they sit down, they're willing to listen, and they ask you, what can we do as young people to be able to change the situation, or is it that all is lost? So I think one thing again that we have to do is to tell these people that all is not lost. The power lies with us, and we are the change that we need. So finally, maybe just an overview of what we are doing. We have heard about the agriculture bills, the nut and oil crops bill, the agricultural professionals bill. Now, Sabina Chege recently introduced the horticultural crops authority bill. And if you read some of those bills, they are meant to take away food sovereignty from the farmer. And a lot of authority is being given to government agencies, the minister, and now even the new authorities that are proposed to be created, such that to be able to do some simple things like planting your vegetables and taking them to the market, you are told that you need a license that you renew annually to be able to do that. And failure to do so, you could be subject to imprisonment for up to 3 years and even a fine of up to 1 million. So how you would go to be able to implement this with a mama mboga down in the village to be able to do such things. So when we put out a call, we had a space last week that was hosted by KOT here, and people overwhelmingly reached out to us after that. I think even the Ministry of Agriculture released a statement trying to distance themselves from those bills, that tumesikia vitu kwa mtandao. We want to tell you that those bills do not originate from the ministry. But the reality is that those bills are in Parliament, and if passed, they are going to have far-reaching implications on our food sovereignty. So there we placed a general call, and within 24 hours, so many Kenyans had come on board. In fact, there was a WhatsApp group that we put up for people who are interested, lawyers, farmers, friends of farmers, people from different other professions that support farmers. And we were overwhelmed by the numbers. Within less than 24 hours, we had to create a community so that we could be able to accommodate more people. Kenyans who are just coming up to say we want to stand in solidarity with farmers to say no to these bills. So we are going to have another space with them on Monday, and to be able just to hear what Kenyans, these many Kenyans who have shown interest, have to say. And then on Tuesday, we are going to hold a media conference with various media houses and a few interested parties in Nairobi at the Clarion Hotel. And we will be able to chart the way forward of how we are going to. A team of lawyers have already volunteered to be able to take legal action against these bills, and we will be able to chart the way forward. Just do everything that we can do to be able to protect the common mwananchi and our food sovereignty as a country. So when you see our channels, the campaign is dubbed Kilimo cha Haki, and it is what is now going out there. So you will see a lot about Kilimo cha Haki. And when we hold the media conference on Tuesday morning, we will be telling Kenyans, breaking it down one by one, what these bills hold for us and why we think they should be relooked at for the best interest of the country and the common mwananchi who is involved in farming in the villages. So that's what we are up to. Thank you very much, KOT, for this chance, and all the people on board. Let's team up together and sustain this protest spirit all the way to be able to bring change in this country. The change that we need lies with us. And if we don't fight for it, if we don't do it, if we don't step out and do all the heavy lifting and the dirty work that is required to do it, nobody will do it for us. Yeah, I was telling my friends that whatever it takes now, where we have reached, whatever it takes, we must be able to be willing to do it, to be able to bring the change we want. If it will require people to organize themselves in civics, in justice centers and civil society groups, be willing to do that. If there are people who can organize themselves politically to be able to fight towards that change, do not hesitate to go in that direction, because we know that even in as much as we can fight and we can agitate and we can do all these things, ultimately the ballot is coming in 2027. And if we are not careful, these people will use the stolen resources that they have, the state power that they unleashed against us during the revolution, the political experience that they have. If we do not organize ourselves properly, we may end up in a worse situation. And you can imagine if Ruto is treating us like this in his first term, when he still expects to be elected in 2027. How worse would this regime be if they were supposed to get a second term, when they are not looking forward to any election, but just to finish and go? So we must wake up and do all that it takes. If it will require us to go back to the streets at some point in time to put more pressure, be willing to do that. If it requires you to step out of your comfort zones, like I stepped out of my comfort zone. I have had a lot of my friends challenging me, Duncan, you are too young. You still you don't settle. Don't be comfortable with what you're doing at the university. Step out of class. One politician told me, Duncan, what are you doing in class? Step out. If you will stay in class, and this country will be unsustainable for you. Because even right now, we were fighting for money, we are fighting for pension, we were fighting for medical cover. Imagine you are a lecturer, you have taught, I know Professor Kibwana here taught in the university. I saw his post, he was saying 25 years before, and now he's back. A professor who has been in the university maybe for 30 years, 35 years, then you are told that your pension fund has collapsed when you are just at the verge of retirement. And all these years, monthly, your deductions are taken for pension. The government is supposed to contribute and the university is supposed to contribute a similar amount. You multiply that by 35 years for all the 1,700 staff we have at TUK, and you are told that those deductions did not end up at the pension fund, and ultimately the pension fund collapsed. So those are the kind of atrocities, the kind of messes that people in power are doing. Yet we have just been quiet in our comfort zones as the middle class. So we must arise, do everything possible that we can do. And for me, I stepped out because I got the challenge and I said, I will, whatever it takes, I will do so that we can be able to get there. So thank you very much, Keoti. And may God bless us as we continue with the fight. Asante sana.
Okay, thank you so much, Duncan, and may God bless you for the good work you're doing. And I really appreciate, guys. If you don't know Duncan, I met him on this platform, and remember during Nane period, we were doing some fundraise to bring people to Nairobi for the protest, and personally I brought a lot of people from outside Nairobi. Some of them came from Nyanza, others from Coast, others from Mount Kenya, and so there are some guys that who popped in Nairobi at 1 a.m. Yeah, because they had missed some their first vehicle, and so I had to pay for them the other vehicle. And when they popped in, I wasn't ready to even accommodate them because I had already given out the accommodation spaces to those who came earlier, na zilikuwa zishaisha. And so I posted on this platform that I want someone to help me accommodate some people. And so Duncan called me on my WhatsApp number. It was at 2 a.m. And he said, give them my number, they can come at my place. We don't know those people. He don't know them. He don't know me. We've never met. And so I just believed him. And so he accommodated those people. Hey, anyway, hizi maspace bana, tunakutana tu hapa, ni Mungu anatuleta pamoja. So Mweru, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, I don't know.
It's still morning here, so good morning. So thanks for hosting the space. I've been trying to keep up with everything. I'm 13 hours behind. But I really wanted to just thank you guys. I've been following what you and Morara and the team are doing. I just had a conversation with some comrades here in the diaspora, and they have started following you guys, and they're also in shock of the things that you guys are basically exposing. So, I mean, we really appreciate your efforts and everything you guys are doing. I know you're basically literally sacrificing your lives by doing this, because we know what kind of animals we have in office. So we don't take it for granted. But I mean, it just saddens me. I mean, it really is a sad situation, to be honest. For the guys that are here that are in the diaspora, I'm personally in the United States. And when you live in a country where, I mean, let me just first of all just put it out there. There's no perfect system. There's no country that runs perfectly. But when you live in a country where things actually work and function like they're actually supposed to, the roads are built and maintained like they're supposed to. And then you watch videos of roads whose monies have been designated and just stolen. Stolen. And these people have no shame. They have no shame. They have no regard for human life. They have no respect for Kenyans whatsoever. We understand they're morally bankrupt. We don't expect them to operate in any essence or any form of character, because they don't have any. They're completely depleted of any form of decency. And they just steal the money, and they can just live their life watching people around them suffering while they're stealing and stealing and stealing. This really, I cannot even wrap my mind around this. We are trying to calculate how much money they have stolen. We can't even keep up. And to me, my request is, what if they just don't steal from Kenyans for 1 year? Just 1 year. Just 1 year. Like 1 year they don't steal from Kenyans. If every day we're losing 2 billion in corruption, if they just don't steal for 1 year, we're going to have at least 730 billion. If they don't steal for us, and they can put that money into the roads. Seriously, how do they expect Kenyans? How? And then they have the nerve to come here the other day. I hope he has gone back to Kenya, because I don't even understand what he's doing in the US. I don't understand how we have a president who is stealing constantly and then wasting money. It's like he does not understand that every time he makes a trip, he is wasting more money, and then on top of that, he's going to still go back and steal. Like, they have no form of decency. It's just disgusting. It just pisses me off all the time. Like, we need to get them out of office, and we don't just need to get them out of office. We need to get them out of office and throw them in prison. And I think even throwing them in prison is basically just being nice to them, because they deserve the capital punishment. How do you see people suffering? The hospitals are not built. The roads are not built. All the infrastructure is going to shit, basically. Education is a joke. And they have the nerve to board a plane and come here to the US to make a speech to the UN. Like, that is so important. I mean, come on. This guy, he just irritates me. Just how, I mean, they just misappropriation. He has no priorities. Like, the human life in Kenya, he has no time for it. So, I mean, I agree with one thing that I love I think it's the previous speaker that mentioned that, especially with these bills that they're passing and trying to pass, that we need to put a stop to, that you guys are having a press conference to educate people. I love this, because we need to just do whatever we can at this point. And there's one particular bill that they passed that we need to really pay keen attention to. I hosted a space a co-hosted rather previously, about a week ago, and we were discussing the IEBC. And after that, I advised people, we need to read this IEBC Act of 2024 that Ruto signed, because all these bills that they're passing obviously are for malicious agendas. And as we proceed with the civic education, I hope people will start fighting. To get this IEBC up and running, because we need to start recalling some of these idiots we have as MPs that are not serving us. All these people who are proposing these bills that are just meant to just rob and suppress and oppress Kenyans, we need to recall all of them. So while we have these conversations about civic education, we need to figure out a way to get the IEBC up and running. I'm starting to really get very worried about this. So anyway, let me just be quiet for now and keep listening. But I just thank everybody who is trying their best to play their part, everybody who is actually even making an effort to play their part, whatever it is that you're doing, because at the end of the day, it's going to have to be a teamwork. Even in the diaspora, we have a role to play here in this.
Okay, so thank you, Meru. I wanted to bring Toria, but I just want to go through your comments. I can see Anthony is saying, adding on to what Kebaso'S and the team are doing at the grassroots, each of us in these spaces spread across the country and across the world must act as multipliers of needed civic education with those we interact with continuously. Grassroots is where we all reside. And then kuna Msena Mangombe saying, we shall do like Martin Luther King. If you can run, run. If you can run, run. If you can walk, just walk. If you can't walk, crawl. If you can't crawl, scream it out. Any of these are steps and will be felt. Alafu kuna admin anaitwa Aaron Adimao. He's saying, Ushago nimeona chiefs wamewekwa na rada about this livestock bill. And then we have Vamineta the Guna is saying, how does civic education eradicate illiteracy, poverty, joblessness? Because these are the three pillars of politicians' stranglehold on power. kuna anaitwa Mwaniki J.O. is saying Kebaso'S and Morara, welcome Ukambani. Yeah, we'll come there soon. And he's also asking that you should follow him. He has only 14 followers. And then I can see Believer saying, KOT, can you add your number so that we can send you kidogo to support you? Hey, you guys should support me, bana. Leo karibu tukwame mahali, and someone came in with 1,000 tukaeka mafuta. I hope you guys saw it because I shared on this platform. So if you can support. Yeah, that's exactly what you need to do, because without support, we're going nowhere. And so, Believer, I'll do that soon. To nipatie Toria to run the conversation. Toria.
Yes. Thank you, KOT, and Mweru for the space, and everyone who has sacrificed your time to join us now. The topic of the day is grassroots civic education. First of all, I would like to give my flowers to KOT and the rest who are on the ground trying to push so hard to inject and to educate people. Civic education is the one which is going to help us playing the great role in the Mashinani area, most of it. Sababu, most of those people, they don't watch news, they don't listen. Okay, and if you watch news, you know, definitely Zakayo gonna lie, so you're gonna listen to the lies. And I was talking to my relatives before I joined the space, and my uncle was like, oh, so this thing of airport ilikuwa ya ukweli. Nikamuuliza, kwani nyinyi mnaishingi dunia gani nyi watu? Ati nimeona kwa news jana. Niko like, oh my god, hizo siku zote nikiwaambia vitu mnasikianga na wapigia kelele ama ni mbuzi napigia ngita, like hawaamini. So nikawaelezea story na venye hiyo ukulima itawa affect. Then my uncle was like, oh acha sasa nianze kukuamini kidogo. Then I'm like, unaniamini kidogo ama una believe government venye inaturepress, venye inatufinya? Let me tell you one thing. Through civic education, change starts with us. Like we start from where we are now. Una educate watu wenye wako around you, your family, as you grow to the community outside. He also went ahead and told me that is it today? Yeah, today Raila Odinga was Ukambani with his fellas somewhere there. Yeah, and definitely these people are looking for people to lie to. That's, we know they are lying. So honestly, civic education serves a great load in our community. Like, yeah, you asked if it can curb the unemployment, the corruption part. Yeah, if you educate people on accountability matters, on how we want our government to be, on how we expect our government to be run, and why we are against these leaders in the government, they will understand. One, they are squandering our money in unreasonable ways, which this money can be implemented in maybe industrialization, which can create jobs among our peoples. So vitu zingine ni tunajitafutia sisi wenyewe, like tunajisovia issues. Me, I really support that. And KOT, what you're doing with the group, it's a nice job. We got your back, we support you, maybe financially, in prayers, mentally, everything. You've got us. And I wanted to ask this question, KOT labda utanijibu, ama whoever. Before a bill is passed, maybe in the parliament, does it involve public participation? Because as we're doing civic education, people need to be informed that their participation is required in passing some certain things in the government before some things in government are taken action or they are pushed forward to be enhanced. So KOT, ebu nijibu hiyo swali.
Toria just popped in again. Space ilikuwa inaanguka, so I went to refresh. Ebu niulize hiyo swali tena kindly.
Okay, nilikuwa nauliza hivi. A bill inaproposiwa na mtu mmoja. Okay, like that horticulture bill, Sabina Chege came up with it. Amesha come up nayo. Does it involve, like, is the public opinions, like public participation considered before that bill is taken to the parliament to be passed, or they decide whether it should pass or not? Because ukifuatilia when tukieducate watu about civic education kwa grassroots huko ndani, these people need to know that their public participation is required in some aspects in the government before some things are implemented in this government. I don't know ama umeelewa my question.
Naelewa swali yako. Unaniuliza if the sponsor or the mover of that bill, who is now Sabina Chege, if she consider the public opinion. Unajua, most of these parliamentarians, they do things on their own. They never involve the people who elected them to those positions. And even you'll find out that most of the decisions, of course, they are making zinatoka all the way from the executive. The executive pushes them to table some bills so that they can enable them probably to generate much money from us. You find out that most of these bills zenye wanekanga huko, especially kaya yenye sasa wanasema saizi you need to have a license, yeah, they are generating more funds from that bill. And so you find out that they rarely consider us. And of course, they believe that they represent us. And so whatever they are tabling there in the parliament, from what they think. They think they are doing it on our behalf, and at times even the bills zenye wanaweka hapo zenye they are so oppressive to us, you find out that because we elected them, they do it yani kwa kimapavu tu, and we the citizens can't do anything about that because look at the finance bill 2024 and 2023. Citizens of this nation walikataa that finance bill, and it took a bloodshed before William Ruto dropped that bill. Yeah, you find out that even Ruto was asking the members of parliament to ensure that that bill has sailed through, and so you find out that hizi vitu wanazifanya tu, they don't consider us as the citizens. And of course, as I even responded to one of the speakers, I say that when we find out that there are some bills that are so oppressive to us, let us not keep quiet. Yeah, let us express ourselves. Yeah, we can do it. Even we can always table the memorandum to those parliaments. Yeah, and even if that doesn't work, the constitution allows us to go out there and protest under Article 37. What I believed is that this government only listen to the language of the protest, but even before they listen to that, they're ensuring that there is more bloodshed before they do that. And of course, from now moving forward, we don't want any blood to be shed, because we the people believe that when we want this nation to move to a right trajectory, then let us have the right leaders there. Yeah, you are a person like you, Toria. If you believe that you are good for leadership, you are ripe for that, go for that, and you ensure that you always listen from the people you are representing, yeah, before doing anything. So that's what I can give you as an answer, and back to you as you drive this conversation.
Oh, thank you. So I will still emphasize on grassroots civic education. Let's do it, and let's also, as we are educating people based on the constitution, let people of Kenya know what their constitution entails them to do and the rights and mandates that it gives them. It will also help us a lot. So I'll go to Rasji, then Mwangi next. Kindly, Rasji. Rasji.
Yes, Toria.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Let me move somewhere where I can, because am I audible? I wanted to ask our good friend, Professor. Toria, confirm whether I'm audible, kidogo.
You are very much audible.
Thank you so much, and thank you for everybody. Thank you for switching on to these. Thank you, KOT. I came in because I saw Kivuta, and I'm so much concerned. I'm coming as a very much concerned Kenya, bearing in mind that our Professor Kivuta Kibwana has been in the political arena for some time. And Kivuta Kibwana, our good professor, we find ourselves at a very difficult period, especially the young people of this republic. Sisi mahali pe tumefika, we are so desperate in a situation in we are capable, we are now prone in doing anything that can just get rid of this administration. Tumefika mahali ambapo hata sahi tukiambiwa we will get rid of William Ruto the constitutional way, it is not making sense to any of us. That's the extent we are. Yani tumechoka tu ile design yenye. Bearing in mind sahi as we sit down, the opposition, the chief of opposition, the person who was supposed to look to oversight this government, right now he is seated in that government. You can even see Raila Odinga is now enjoying our taxes with this government. Kazi yake ni kungoja tu William Ruto ametoka out of the country, wanaandamana pamoja. It's like this country iko tu na watu wachache wenye wanakaa mpaka tuko kwa hii platform. When you listen to a politician, anybody who has been in the political atmosphere, unasikia tu umechoka. It is even hard to distinguish who is genuine, who is not genuine. We need to liberate this country very seriously, because we are tackling a mixture of problems. As we sit down here, William Ruto is cutting deals left, right and center. Yeah, anafanya tu madeals zake. At the other time when we held this platform up, we had even people from Haiti who came here and shed a light to why William Ruto even sent our policemen to Haiti. It is not simply because it has nothing to do with this peace, anything. It is something to do with looting the resources of that country. And it sends a very strong message huko nyumbani. When there is an issue like the NHIF issue and the social health insurance fund, huyu jamaa anajaribu kupush, even intimidating the civil servants, wenye wataingia sijui they will be threatened with sacks. Kivuta, there is a lot going on in this country. Na mahali penye tumejipata as a country, and sorry to say that, the young people of this nation are capable of doing anything. Even as we talk this very moment, there is a squad that has just been given state funds, state resources. Kazi yao tu ni kumove from town to town, abducting young people, killing them. And it is unfortunate the members and the squad, the unit that has been constructed inatoka juu, all from information, intelligence. Wani ni watu wamejipanga, watu wameiba billions in this country. Sasa mahali penye watu wamefika, kazi yao ni kutumia apparatus. Even our own fellow young men and women have been recruited. Hao ndio wenye wanaseti wenzao. The young people of this nation are very desperate for change. Very desperate. And like I've said, people are desperate, ready to do anything that can get rid of this regime. This regime has been planted to us by foreigners. And the more we continue talking, I'm not downplaying, I'm not underrating our constitution. But the more you saw the other day, William Ruto was on CNN, lecturing, preaching about democracy. A democracy he knows deep down, he does not believe in that democracy. William Ruto believes in rigged election, compromised system. Hiyo ndio kitu yenye ana believe. But he wants me and you to believe in those systems. William Ruto knows very well he ascended to power through dubious ways. Na anajua hivyo. And this is the this is the head, this is the mentality he has planted into politicians in this country. Sasa hivi leo tunaongea hapa hivi, politicians, 70% of politicians in this country believe they don't draw their power from wananchi. They draw their power from William Ruto. 80% of politicians in Mount Kenya, my region, I wanna believe they came to power. They became senators, they became MCS, they became MPs, courtesy of William Ruto. Wanajua wakienda kwa parties, they will compromise their way, they will get those tickets using money that they have stolen from wananchi. Kibwana, I'm asking you as a Kenyan, what do you want Kenyans to do? When we are here telling Kenyans about constitution, when we are here telling Kenyans tuchukue kura, when we know very well somebody like Dismas Baraza is very sure of becoming a governor in Bungoma, whether the wananchi like him or not, what do you want Kenyans to do? Munataka tufanye nini? Kwa sababu it is a proven record that hata saa hivi vile tunaambia young people in this country, chukueni kura, sijui tufanye nini, all those things, they are just exercise in futility. Huyu jamaa amekaa ameiba mabilioni. It's unfortunate the likes of Itumbi, young people who should be helping people, they are the ones giving information using these service providers, wanapeana mahali penye wewe huko, young people. The other day we had to protest here online for the release of Njagi, making noise. Yani William Ruto amejipata, he can only listen to his Western powers. Wakikaa wakimwambia, Kenyans, don't lie to yourself that this country, democracy itatupeleka mahali penye tuko. Democracy yenye tuko nayo kwa hii country, it's a coated democracy. It's a democracy that has just, in fact, I would want to put it this way. We have not gotten our independence. Until ile siku yenye tutaamuka sisi wote. Hii woga yenye tumeuziwa na watu through these institutions. Right now there is no institution that is working without the input of the executive. Even the wars that Gachagua is currently facing, he is facing them because the institutions can control that. And I'm not saying this because I love Gachagua. Gachagua has all the rights to undergo what he's undergoing right now. But you can learn from the Gachagua wars right now. It tells you the institutions of this country, they are compromised, they are controlled by the state heavily. And this is the same state that will sit down to arrange, conduct, and plan elections for you, thinking that you will get rid of William Ruto. Let us not lie to ourselves. And this is a question I'm posing to Kibwana. If the constitution cannot work, if these people have suspended the constitution to loot from us, right now, hata wamefunza the women governors of this country. You cannot lie to me that there are women governors working. Sai angalia sai, wanajiitaka sijui, I don't know if they are calling themselves the G7. Wanajiita mahali, just to exercise, to plan, how they can get more power in the name of looting. Go and check those countings that are run. And I'm not against women. Full of looting. They are now positioning one Waiguru. When Waiguru is an expert in looting government resources, our taxes. Who do you want wananchi who are desperate for change like me and others to think? I personally don't think this administration will be gotten rid the constitutional or the democratic way, because the democracy they preach to us every day, it is not the democracy that we read or think about. It is a different thing. Lastly, as I learned, the United States and the European nation, these are the masters. These are the people controlling this republic. Sai tukikaa hapa, neocolonialism is coming back in form of Adani and these other things. Everything in this republic is being auctioned in the name of PPPIs. William Ruto, sahi, everything, all the parastatal zitaenda kwa jina yake, but si kwa jina yake. It is just bodies ameleta huku, puppets that ameleta to control. This nation is under auction. And if we are not careful, it is a matter of time before we go the Zimbabwean way. Nobody, hakuna haja tudanganyane hapa. Hii country ni watu wanauza, kila mtu anachukua yake. This person does not care about this nation. I'm urging my fellow youth, I'm urging every young people of this republic. If you don't take this with a pinch of salt and expect that this government, itakuja mahali itakusaidia. Right now as we talk, the lecturers, the doctors, the healthcare system, education, nothing is working. It is a matter of time. Na huyu mtu bado anaenda huko nje, anaenda ana loan. These loans, as we talk right now, as we speak, they are loans that were taken by Uhuru Kenyatta administration. Hizo loans zinaendelea kulipwa na hatujaijua hata tunalipa nini. I'm talking of the Euro bonds. I'm talking of everything. So we are just having a system that is, huyu mwizi mmoja anaingia, huyu mwingine anatoka. Huyu mwingine anaingia, anatoka. We cannot continue trusting these politicians with our country. Musipo tokelezea. Musipo make another 25th in this nation. But that one should be very different. To change this system. Then, tukae chini, tukubali, inchi iende, watoto wao wa benefit, because as we talk, they are busy positioning their children for leadership. You saw the other time, if I may ask you, huyu mtu anaitwa Shalin, using our taxes, where is it in the constitution there is an office? Going to the UN, positioning herself as the youth leader of this nation. who I don't remember me or any other person appointing Charlene to speak for me in those platforms. But you can see it is a deliberate move by these politicians to crop their children, to make, it is just, yani mimi yana nasikiaga tu nimechoka. But we will not tire, we will not give up. Someday, these politicians will pay. Hiyo manyumba, hiyo pesa mmestash abroad. And as I finish, something interesting happened in Machakos. A governor looted the county, went and stashed money abroad. Came back, bought a few wananchi to clap for her as she comes back. Please, my people, if this is the mentality that we are going to continue having in our brains, then it will take a very long time for us to liberate and come out of the situation. We are tuko mahali pabaya sana. Maybe the symptoms are yet to manifest. But wacha niwaambie as a country, Toria.
Yes, try landing. Malizia.
I'm done.
Ni kama ametoka kidogo, but let me tell you one thing. In this country, we are told Kenya is a democratic country, and I keep saying that the democracy itself, it's a word in dictionary in Kenya. It has never been practiced. We're not allowed to practice our democracy. Democracy is for the rich in Kenya. Democracy is for the politicians in Kenya. The law, the poor have no say about what is democracy. So forget about democracy for now. The need for civic education is really on demand, because when people come together and bring their minds and they understand that these politicians are just trying to paint them by giving them 100 shillings to go and celebrate them, they have done this and that, yet they are looting our money. I think we will be in a greater positions as Kenyans to change our country. KOT are emphasizing on the ground, which is civic education in different counties, different areas. Mabonga is from Bugoma. Mabonga went to Kutingiza Mrima. I appreciate that. Mbona kwenda Bugoma? Because anajaribu kukil kitu ya tribalism. We are one Kenya, one nation. Mbona kwenda Bugoma akaenda Rift Valley? I don't know Bugoma ama iko Rift Valley, uko ni kwa Wakale. Kwa sababu tunataka tumalize hii kitu ya mtu wetu. We need to educate people. Civic education itatusaidia as much as possible. Jule mse wa mashinani understand what we inquire or what this government is doing against our will. Trust me, siku yenye tutasema let's go to the streets, mtu atatoka hata bila kusikiza mwingine. You know, the problem is that unakuja unapewa sorry for that. Unakuja unapewa 100, then you go ahead singing like Wavinya is the best, and tomorrow you are suffering. Mtu ameharibu pesa yenye ingekutengenezea barabara. Ameloot pesa yenye ingepeanwa kama CDF kwa shule. I saw this country is so, sijui niseme ni wicked ama ni crooked ama what, like the leaders there. How can you bribe someone so that you can impeach a person, yet you are bringing foreigners to come and run our airport? You have the money to bribe people, you don't have the money to repair the airport. It's really crazy. I don't want to think about it. You have money to buy national dresses, you don't have money to repair our airport. And this shift share whatever thing, it's a scam, for Christ's sake. We lost 360 million in NHIF last month before. Nobody is talking about it. They are forcing us to go and register NHI or whatever, SHIF. What is SHIF, for Christ's sake? What is the issue with the NHIF? Watu wa mashinani utapata mtu ameenda tu kuregister juu gava imesema register. Juu gava ilisema italipia mtu 300 mwenye ana janda. Really? Are we gonna fall for the same tricks, for the same lies? We give them a great opportunity to loot more and more. We give them an opportunity to press us in a corner where hatuwezi jitoa. And let me ask this. I used to pay for NSSF. Like nilikuwa nakatwa salary ya NSSF. Sijaiona hiyo pesa inatoka. Okay, sijazeeka bado kiasi inaweza anza kutoka. But I have relatives wamekuwa wakilipia hiyo kitu. That money haijaitoka. It takes a long period kitambo itoke. Na to some extent unaweza kosa kuipata. Is there a way? KOT, are you there? KOT, question na direct kwako.
Ndakumza question ya NSSF na mimi sijai andikwa mahali jamani.
Wewe fikiria tu nijibu. Is there a way tunaweza disconnect? Mimi walai nimekatwa salary kwa NSSF na nimeona like wakoro wangu wamekuwa NSSF, do hazijaitoka hizo maganji after wamefikisha hizo miaka. So hiyo do inaendanga wapi? Alafu let me ask you, is there a way tunaweza kata hii kitu juu NSSF definitely ina benefit gava? Si huyu mwenye anakatangwa ina benefit gava. Me I would suggest hata we stop. Eri sasa mfungwe a foundation ama muite nini whatever, mkwe mnaeka pesa yenu hapo, sikuna records. Like si wanataka ku-privatize vitu. Let's also hata sisi to privatize vitu zetu because it's crazy, man. This government is really driving us crazy. Hiyo pesa inaendanga wapi? Hii NHIF, hakuna mtu ameulizia hiyo 360 million yenye ilipotea ati due to typing error. For Christ's sake, kwa nini shilingi 100 imepotea? We cannot allow that in our country. Then wanna push to register chief. Mi hata niulize shushu wangu unaambiwa register chief. Chief ni nini? Chief ni nini? Hata ajui hiyo chief ni nini. Nitamwambia ni nini for Christ's sake. Kuna watu wako na sijui chief, kuna wengine watakuwa na NHF, sijui kuna wengine wako na Mama Linda ama nini. Like we are so divided, distracted. This government is looking for every opportunity to loot. Kama ni NHF, let's stand for NHF. We need clarification kwanza before we move a step forward. Hii 360 million ilienda wapi? Tuleteni hiyo typing error. Mwenye aliweka hiyo typing error, bro, kuja ulipe hiyo do. Ndo tufikiria ama tutachange from NHIF to shift shasho whatever. Like you can't be making decisions oppressing us like ni kama hatuna midomo za kuingia. This too much, man. It's too much. So hebu mniambie hiyo pesa ya NSSF inaendanga wapi? Mimi niko na swali. Professor amerudi. Ras, Professor, there was someone who had a question for you. I think you can answer. Na pia unijibu hiyo yangu ya NSSF because I really find it like it's kinda our money is being looted even in the NSSF sector because una save do ukifika 60 years ukiretire. I think after retirement that's when you should start chukuaring hiyo pesa kidogo kidogo. But utakaa ukae hautaipewa hiyo pesa. Unakaa hata miaka 10 no. Ama ina apply to some employees. Lol, wale employee wa huko chini hawa majua na Jumi, I don't get it. Please make me understand. Professor, the mic is yours. Please.
Asante Toria. Hata nilikuwa karibu kulala lakini kwa sababu ya jinsi Rasa ameuliza nafikiri ni vizuri kujaribu kumjibu. Ndio, I can appreciate the anger, the disappointment and all that Ras, feels, and it's not just him alone, but very many, young people in our country, the majority, this 70% of the population. Lakini, what you guys are doing now, that is in terms of a different way of organizing. Yes, there was the street organizing. And one is not saying that, Article 37 of the Constitution cannot be recourse to again, because that's a constitutional right. People have the right to demonstrate, to picket, to do all those things for issues that they believe are important. But, change comes when enough people are sensitized so that they can see the need for it and they can participate in making it to happen. Even countries like Bangladesh, like whichever countries where people have in mass, come up and said we want change. It is because there was, lots of tons of organization undertaken so that they couldn't be resisted. So what I would tell us, what I would tell, the young people of my country, as somebody who has been in the 90s in these struggles, in the 90s, there wasn't the kind of civic education or political education or people's education that you guys are doing, so that, these issues went to the very, very, very grassroots. Because Moi was very brutal and he prevented us, from doing civic education. I remember we would go places, the police would be there, and we would just sit the whole day until we came back to Nairobi without, talking to police people, sometimes sharing bread and Fanta with police people who are guarding us so that we can't go and those days it wasn't inject. We didn't have that word, but in your language, inject among the people. So it was in the churches that, sometimes we were allowed to do so and so on. So I think these strategies that you're doing, and even, seeking vote power, the street power, all the mixture of all these things, it's innovation. And it is something that one must encourage so that you build the momentum instead of saying, okay, now, we are going to find a bypass which is not necessarily supported by the mass of the people. So I think one can simply say organize, so that the change becomes kind of organic and it is real and it is sustainable. But I like the analysis of Ras in terms of the issues, really knowing what the issues are, simplifying those messages when you do now the civic education or political education, simplifying the message. Like if it is those things of ISO agriculture, ISO Sharia's agriculture, somebody simplifies them, what they exactly mean. Like even that airport thing, how the relative was told in simple ways, the things that touch their lives. So that now it's civic education on, the health thing. If account is not working properly, things that are very real. And that is what makes the change to happen, what the corruption is doing and all that kind of stuff. NSSF, there used to be a lot of money in NSSF, the collections of people. And it was actually used to buy, land of people, and it was major scandals of corruption around NSSF. And up to now, that is why NSSF has never kind of recovered, and people keep on paying. And when it comes to now the social security that is guaranteed even in the constitution, people take very long to get paid, and they get paid, peanuts. So again, those are the things that you need to bring out and things that will need to be corrected. Because as you are doing this work of injecting, you are building a manifesto of the correct things that will be done. And I like the fact that